Let's get it, baby. Episode 16, MMA Gossip, back in your life. You know the usual. Like, comment, subscribe, help the boys out. All of our socials, at MMA X Gossip, all across the board. Twitter, Instagram, Gmail, the whole nine. Hit us up on, if you're watching this, you're on YouTube. If you're listening to this, you're on Apple or Spotify. So follow us on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, baby. We're at 32 right now, which is actually pretty crazy. We have I think we only have like 7 or 8 episodes on YouTube, and we already have 32 subscribers. So help the boys out. Drop that. We hit 100. Me and Mike might kiss on the lips. I don't fucking know. We'll do something of the sort. So help the boys out. I don't know. I hope you're that way. That would be really good if it worked. But
Mike kissed me and Chris kissed a black screen.
But we'll do it live and in color, in fucking person if we hit 100. So help the boys out. But that's it. I mean, on this episode, number 16, we're going to review UFC 251. We're going to go ahead to UFC Fight Island. They're calling it, I guess, UFC Fight Island or UFC Yaz Island 1, because 251 was technically the pay-per-view. So we're back at it, baby. Calvin Kattar, Dan Ige, going to bang it out on a Wednesday. Nothing like Wednesday scraps, baby. But with that being said, Mike, 251, let's get us going.
All right, we're just going to go right back to the recap, baby. Let's start it off with Davey Grant knocking out Martin Day in the 3rd round viciously. My first pick, shit the bed. Matt, take it away.
I'm sorry, guys. I almost picked Davey Grant. I almost did. And then thanks to the New Jersey betting guru, shout out to that guy for absolutely fucking crushing it on this card. If it wasn't for a shitty decision that we'll get to later, he would have swept the whole card. It was ridiculous. And for such a high-profile card, like, props to him. But anyway, yeah, big hit on the first fight. I laid wood into it. I was shocked. I thought that fight was 100% going to go to the ground at some point, and somehow Davey Grant ended up beating him up on the feet and putting his lights the fuck out. I guess we overrated Martin Day's striking and underrated Davey Grant, and quick 1-0 for me. Chris?
Quick 0-1 for me. I didn't have any parlays, or I didn't bet on him, anything like that. I just know I picked him on the podcast last week. And, yeah, that was a 1-2 from fucking hell. Put his lights out. All she wrote. Shout out to the NJ betting guru. Called it as he sees it. And he was big on that, right, Matt? You said like that was like one of his main locks as an underdog, right? So I actually purchased
his package for this week because I couldn't hit water falling out of a fucking boat over the last month. So I said, I got to mix it up. And so he sends his picks over. He sends like a bunch of parlays. He did like 16 for this one. And then he sends like a notepad with just straight picks. And the Davey Grant, he had highlighted, bolded, the first one on the list, the whole 9. So I was locked in. I was nervous, but I was locked in. But props to him, man, because if I didn't buy that, I would have bet Martin Day. So
so just to reiterate, Martin Day was one of my actual 3 picks that I shit the bet on, but you guys didn't put Martin Day or Davey Grant in any of your picks, so you guys are golden as of right now, 0-0, but I started the night off 0-1, but I turned it around later on. Next up, we had Vanessa Mello losing a clear, unanimous decision against Carl Hossa. Matt?
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of what I expected. I know Mike said something about fucking this girl getting hit 100 times in the head. Once I saw them in there, she was much bigger, outstruck her. Like, it wasn't even close. Another piece of the parlay down quick. This was a great night, all fucking around. Like, perfect night. I could have asked for more. Again, we'll get to that, but it's how I kind of expected the fight to go. Chris?
So I actually, aside from the NJ betting group, I put in a parlay, which I usually put in like a 10-fight parlay, sprinkle $5-10 on there, usually end up lighting it on fire as I did this week. But Carol Hossa was the first fighter in my 10-fight parlay. The parlay I went 9-1 in. But yeah, I picked her and it was clean, and that's it. 1-0. Well, 1-0 in my parlay, 1-1 on the night.
Yeah, I was just dead wrong. Well, first of all, Vanessa Mello missed weight for I think the 3rd straight time. She has 3 fights in the UFC. She missed weight 3 times. So see you later, Miss Mello. But Hossa, did what she was supposed to do. I thought a $20 sprinkle on Mello would have been maybe a decent chance, but turned out no shot. Next fight, Zhalgas Zhumagulov loses a close, I'm going to say it's kind of close, decision against Raulian Paiva, who also missed weight. Matt?
Yeah, man, this one, was another one of Guru's big bets. And I remember last week when we were talking, we were all on the fence about this one. I don't know, man. If they gave the fight to Zalgis, I wouldn't have been mad. This was one of the it wasn't a bad decision, but like that third round got so sketchy with the nut shots. He definitely lost the second round. Lucked out on this one. Really lucked out on this one, in my opinion. I wasn't complaining because I hammered Paiva, had him in every parlay under the fucking sun. But I don't know, man. I think he looked better in his last two outings. But, this, like we said, Zalgis is a former champ from another promotion. Again, I don't remember which one because he fights out of, like, Eastern Europe or some bullshit, and nobody gives a fuck. But, yeah. So we'll see where Paiva goes after this. Chris?
So, honestly, I saw this a little bit different. I mean, I don't know if it was just me. I thought this fight was fucking horrible. Like, I didn't – and it was just – this is one of those fights where I'm watching with my friends who are all casuals, and I'm like getting the night, trying to hype the night up. UFC 251, we just started guzzing beers with the boys. I'm like, all right, let's get after it. And then it's like, so far, Davey Grant set off the night right. Then you have a boring female fight, and then this poopy fight. And I'm like, fuck. You know what I mean? But and I picked Zalgis on this one in hindsight with Paiva missing weight, right? He came in at like 128 or 129 or something like that. I probably would have rode with him more, especially him being the hotter fighter. I think both guys can perform better, and I'm looking forward to seeing both guys fight when, circumstances are a little different, not on Fight Island. But I do think Paiva won the fight, and I had Zalgis. I think was he one of my picks? Maybe, I'm not sure, but I picked him on the podcast. I know that at least. So yeah, he lost and it sucked.
Yeah, it was absolutely boring fight. It was close. I do think the right person won, but the nut shots kind of took a lot of steam away from the fight. That it was already kind of boring. But I don't know.
That could have been.
Go ahead.
That could have been real dicey if they took a point away from him. That would have sucked for Paiva.
Yeah, depending on the referee. Sometimes the referee take a point away right off the first shot, or first fence grab, first technical mistake that they make, rule mistake, sometimes take a point away. So that maybe Raulian Paiva moves up a weight class. I mean, he's big enough, huge as hell for 125. So we'll see. Next fight, another pretty boring one. I'm sure you and your boys were like sleeping during when Marcin Tybura wins a clear-cut, boring, unanimous decision against a smaller, obviously 205-pounder most of the time, Maxim Grishin. Matt.
There's literally nothing to say about this fight. I bet Tybura straight. I had him in no parlays. We're not getting into this. Chris, I don't even know if you want to fucking say anything. Like, I think as unanimously we couldn't be more tired of prepping for Marcin Tybura and then reviewing his fights. Like, enough. Chris, if you want, go ahead.
Two things on this, and not one related to this fight, one not. I was sitting with my buddy Mark, who was right next to me, and we were drinking, like I said, we were drinking beer and stuff, and a couple of them were going to go on a beer run, and I go, yo, this is the fight to do it. Mark goes, they're heavyweights, dude. Someone's getting knocked out. I was like, not in this fight. Literally, I was like, not in this fight. And he literally, it was like halfway through the third round, he goes, wow, you were right. Not that he was doubting me, but also on the Marcin Tybura train, I think Spivak is a favorite this weekend, but we'll get into that on a later date.
All right. So Spivak is a favorite, which means hammering their dog. Just stating facts here. The kid's a fraud. Next fight, another bizarre one. Leonardo Santos gets kicked in the balls 100 times by Rogan Bogotov and wins a decision. Not much to say on this, Matt.
Dude, Bogotov didn't have a fucking clue. There's stupid, and then there's retarded. He hit him in the nuts, I think, 3 times in one round, and Goddard was giving him the benefit of the doubt, not taking a point. And then he threw an illegal knee when all 4 of Santos's limbs were on the fucking ground, because it's so quiet in there, you hear everything. Even Goddard was like, yo, what are you doing? I started dying. Immediate 2-point deduction. Santos was winning that fight anyway. Bogotov did go for the finish, and it was getting a little dicey with 30 seconds left. He did rock him. I was like, and again, Santos was literally I put in 12 parlays. He was in 11 of them. Everything. I hammered him straight. He was definitely one of my picks, Mike, if I'm correct. So once that 2-point deduction came off the board, I just held my breath that he wrote out that last 30 seconds. He didn't look that great, though. He kind of looked like a 40-year-old in this fight as opposed to his last couple times out. But, hey, Father Time's undefeated, and we'll see what happens next. But Bogota, bro, get a fucking clue. Like, all jokes aside, like the nut shots, whatever, but I hate seeing those illegal knees because that's like, if you hit somebody right, that's career changing shit. Like, you got to know the rules, and that is like rule number one: clear cut, down the pony. Don't be blasting a fucking knee, you asshole. You know, God bless Goddard, man, for putting the 2 points. In my opinion, was completely correct. I don't like 1 point there. I don't think that would have been enough. The 2 points with as many chances he got was perfect. Chris.
Yeah, so Leonardo Santos is my lock of the night, actually. And I don't know, I'm going to fucking butcher this saying. What is it? Count my chickens before they hatch, count my eggs before they hatch.
Count my eggs before they hatch.
Count my eggs before they hatch. Because I think it was the second round, right? Leonardo Santos was about to stop him. And I leaned over and I look at Mark. I go, well, I'm counting my chickens or eggs, whatever the fuck it is, before they hatch. This fight's over. And then it wasn't. And I was nervous because I was telling everyone to bet on Leonardo Santos. I agree with you, Matt, that he did look 40 in this fight. But at the same time, I think he went for that finish so hard, he gassed himself out, and it was hard for him to recover after that, whereas I think he thought the fight was over as much as I did. So I'll give him a little bit of benefit out there. And he is 40 fucking years old, and he still did win the fight. What else? Oh, the nut shots. Like you said, with the 2 point deduction, you guys saw Boston Salmon get fucking obliterated last week with an illegal knee to the head. Holy shit.
The guy whose chin is already suspect, man, he's done.
That's what I was going to say, dude. That's like Matt said, career altering, dude. Like, you might as well get hit in the head with a fucking bat. That was bad. But I agree with the 2 points, and I think we'll get into this at some point when the MMA boys do what they do best and gossip. Weight cutting also. They got to do something with that because a lot of times, I meant to say this when we were talking about Piper before, a lot of times these guys, stats will show it. Mike Bond over at MMA Junkies tracking all this. A lot of times when these guys miss weight, it's like 65, 70% of the time they miss weight, they're winning the fight. So I think they should even deduct a point like that. Like, if you miss by 4 fucking pounds and you're a flyweight, that's, 5% of your fucking body weight you missed by. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot. That's a big difference. I think you should start the fight off with a point deducted or something of the sort. I don't know how they could work that in. People probably think I'm an asshole and tell me to shut the fuck up. I don't blame them. But I'm just saying. With that being said, Leonardo Santos eked out a W there, and my lock of the night, I'll take it.
Yeah, so you went 1-0 in your locks on the night. Matt started off the night 1-0 with Santos, and I'm still at 0-1 until later on in the night. But let's get to it. Makwan Americani makes quick work of Danny Henry, who we were all pretty high on the podcast. I thought he was going to have a better showing. Maybe not win, but definitely have a better showing. But I'm glad I didn't make him any of my picks for my underdog pick, and I didn't lay any money on him. It was just a clear stay-away fight, and it was quick. Matt.
Yeah, I actually, as much as I hyped up Henry, I actually didn't bet this fight straight at all. Yeah, I actually didn't. But I did listen to the guru, and I did have 2 parlays, one with the under, one with the fight being finished by submission. Both cash, baby. That guy's so money, it's insane. Like, and as for Makwan, like, he killed it, dude. Like, but again, I would like to have seen that fight go further because when Makwan wins, how does he win? Like that. I would like to have seen that gas tank play out a little bit more over the course of the fight. But hey, man, if you could get out of there quick and make a quick buck like he did, fuck it. I don't blame you. He looked awesome. That was a slick submission. And I was wrong. Danny Henry could not survive on the ground with him at all. Chris?
I agree with everything you said. I'm actually looking at my phone right now just to pull up the parlay so I can show it to the screen because I picked Danny Henry on the podcast, but for parlay purposes, I went with Makwan in this one, and it played out in my favor. I was literally about to say exactly what Matt said with his fights all finishing in the first round. That seems to be his way to win. And when we saw him go 3 hard rounds against our boy Shane Burgos, he looked horrible. So I'm curious to see how he moves forward from here. He did look like a fucking big favorite, and he won very handily. I expected more of Danny Henry. But, yeah, not too much about to say about that. Another win for the SPG boys. I almost said the MMA Gossip boys.
It's always a win for the MMA Gossip boys.
Always a win.
All right, up next, here starts the controversy. I know you guys have a lot to say, and I agree with you. I was shaking in my booties because Muslim Salikov was one of my picks, and I also had him in, like, all my parlays. right down the line. You know what I'm saying? So and look, Chris is right now scrolling up on his picks, 9-1 with the one
One.
loss coming to Dos Santos. That's brutal, especially because one judge, I'm pretty sure, scored it for 30-27 for Salikov. What the fuck are you watching? I just don't understand.
Dude.
Brutal. Anyway, one last thing. I'll pass it
Yeah.
off. Muslim Salikov lost that fight, but Dos Santos isn't impressing me very much. Matt.
No, I agree with that. But whoever fucking scored that 30-27, get him off the island. I don't care if you fucking throw him in the water and let him drown at this point, dude. Like, he outstruck him. Like, I get if maybe you want to give him, like, I don't know, maybe the second round, but that first round couldn't have been more fucking. He hurt him at the end of the round. Like, what are you fucking watching? When they started announcing the scorecards, and you could obviously tell when it's a split decision because they start rattling off the judge's name. I heard 30-27. I heard Salikov. I almost fell out of my fucking chair, dude. Like, I was like, Jesus Christ. And then, I was so mad about this, and I'm positive Guru was too. He was off the side of the Benjamin Franklin Bridge because it was literally in all of our it was like a $2,000 swing for me. 3 more parlays would have hit if that hit. Like, and Dana knows it too because he said it post-fight. These judges just got to get it right. And I know it's such a larger issue, and I'm not going to fucking harp on it because we have another fight that's to me a much bigger deal than this prelim, but like this, I'm going to say it once, and I know this isn't boxing. Get more judges. I want guys judging fights that have fucking fought before, not guys that take some course and think they know everything. I would love to just do one card where you have legitimate veterans judging the fight, and I want a guy at every corner of the octagon. It's not boxing. Stop this 10-point scoring system because you can't even get that right. Like, you just see it on every card. In every card, it's just more mind-boggling to me how bad judging can be, and I hate it because these guys. This is their livelihood. This is how they put food on the fucking table, and you're taking a win away from a guy that hasn't looked that great lately. He's coming off. He is coming off of a win, but still, like, he hasn't been winning like he was. I don't know, man. And we'll get to Holloway later. That's even a bigger fucking issue. It's just so crazy to me, dude. I don't, and I get it's out of Dana White's hands because it's the athletic commission, but get a fucking clue. Just, I don't know. Chris, maybe you could shed some light on this.
I didn't know we were getting into this that early, but yeah, I'm prepared for this. So I have a few different opinions on this. I think that one thing that they could do, I know I was going to wait for the Max Holloway fight to say this, but he's a huge proponent of the open scoring system. You know what I mean? Like, they'll know the score. Just like if you're playing fucking basketball and there's scores on the scoreboard, the score will be up for fighters to see what it is. I don't know how I feel about that. Max Holloway, he's already forgot more about fighting than I'll ever know. But if the fighter's winning, 3 rounds to 2, or you can't be doing that because that would be the 5th round. If a fighter's winning 4 rounds to nothing going into the 5th round, I don't want to see fucking Usman just running circles around the octagon. I'm just throwing his name out for shits and giggles. You know what I mean? When a fighter's up 4 rounds to nothing, or if it's 2-0 going into the 3rd round, I don't want to see someone just survive. I think that would end up getting fighters hurt, if that makes sense, because then someone would just go all out for the finish. I'm down 2 rounds to nothing. I'm going to lose anyway. I might as well do my absolute best to knock this dude the fuck out. You know what I mean? It takes them out of their game plan. I think that something that would be cool would, if I'm not saying this selfishly. I'm not saying, I don't mean it like that, but if the judges' scorecards were available for TV viewers, you know what I'm saying? So that maybe you would sway your opinion of how you're watching the fight. For example, if I knew that Max Holloway on all 3 judges' scorecards was 2-1 after 3 rounds, because on my scorecard it was 3-0 Max Holloway, I maybe would have watched the fight differently, if that makes any sense. So like maybe like an open scorecard system for TV, or have someone unofficially scoring the fight like Eddie Bravo used to do back in the day, something like that. Or like Matt said, I think the easiest solution is just more fucking judges, because it's not and the other thing is, so I know I'm rambling here, but I have so many opinions on this. The other thing is, it's not even like in the Max Holloway fight, it might not be the judges that do it wrong, but like you said, this isn't fucking boxing, it's the system. Like Max Holloway, if you look at that fight, maybe Alexander Volkanovski won the match. But if those two in a fight, Max Holloway won the fight. You know what I mean? You knocked Alexander Volkanovski to the ground 2 fucking times, and then you're going to weigh because he got leg kicked more in the fourth round, more heavily than dropping someone in the fucking first round of the fight when they're both fresh as can be, and you drop, you know what I mean? You get dropped the head kick. You're gonna weigh that just as well, that's one significant strike, just like a leg kick is a significant strike. To me, I think it's a system thing where those rounds should be weighed more heavily, and I don't have the fucking answer to it. I'm just saying.
So real quick, on your point, the only problem that would come with having an open scoring system, especially TV viewers, is live betting. It would go out the window.
Oh, fuck.
It would go
I
out
didn't
the
think
window.
about that.
I was trying to think of like a way to play devil's advocate to what you just said, because I like that. And at first I was like, wow, the fight would be so much more exciting in that last round if the person knows they got to fucking go for it. It's like Robbie Lawler against Carlos Condit, where he knew he had to go for it, even though he won a shitty decision. But how awesome would it be if these guys knew, I got to really this is 5 minutes. I'm either going to knock him out, get knocked out, or I'm losing a decision. But live betting fucks that up a little bit. However, I do completely agree with the you just need more judges in the scoring system. And I'm not going to harp on Max because we didn't get to that fight yet, but there's no way, and I bet Volkanovski heavily, I do not think that you should be scoring takedowns where Max gets up like that, the same as Max dropping him. It's fucking crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's also another problem that we didn't even touch upon yet. It's that I was listening to DC today, and he scored the fight exactly the same as I did. Now, I don't know if you guys did too, but I scored it as such. The first 3 rounds for Holloway. The third round was a little hairy, but I still think it was Holloway clearly. And then 4 and 5 for Volkanovski. Whereas I'm pretty sure a couple of the judges scored the 5th round for Holloway, and then all 3 of them scored the 3rd round for Volkanovski. So it's not even a question of, I mean, it is a question of open scoring. It is a question of how many judges we have, but it's also a question of the caliber of these judges and what they know and what they don't know. And if you have that much discrepancy, if the vast majority of the viewers, a lot of them are very educated mixed martial arts themselves, if they score it 100% different from the judges, that's a huge red flag. And if DC, like probably one of the smartest MMA minds out there right now, if he scored it completely different from all 3 judges, that's a problem. It just doesn't. There's just no getting around that. It's a fucking problem. You guys have
you get notorious judges that people know by name now, that like, if you see them judging a card, you're like, that's the guy that's gonna fuck up. And somehow these guys keep getting selected by the commission. I just don't understand why. Yeah, or like Sal Diamant. Like, it's crazy. Like, how long? Like, it took Dana White how many meltdowns to get Mario Yamasaki not to ref fights anymore? Shouldn't judges be held to the same level of accountability?
That's the thing. He said after the fight so Dana had the fight for Max, DC had the fight for Max, Helwani, Raymundi, Akamoto, Masvidal, Nate Diaz. Literally, my Twitter feed was just Max, and everyone was scoring. Granted, that's how I'm viewing the fight. I'm watching the fight on my TV, and I scored it 3 rounds. I had Max up 3 rounds. I'm like, holy shit, the fight! Like, he won the fight. If he doesn't, at the end of the 5th round, I remember there's 10 seconds left, and I'm holding Mark's hand because I'm like, Max won the fight. And granted, he didn't. And then I was like, okay, let's see on Monday when all these guys do their podcasts and have their shows. Let's see what their opinion is. I want to weigh other opinions, almost more so in hindsight. And no one's views changed. Almost everyone. I would say Saturday night, 95% of my timeline had it for Max. And Monday morning, 85 had it for Max still.
Yeah, it's a problem. It really is. Something needs to be changed. Granted, I had Volkanovski. He was my lock, and he was, again, in all my parlays. So, like, and this is coming from someone that would have lost 100, like a lot more money than I did. But I still want the sport to become more legit. And then I feel like this makes it takes a step backwards. Like, we want the sport to continue to move forward. Such a young sport, and it's moving backwards with these bad decisions. And like Matt said, it's changing livelihoods. It's just straight up.
Yeah. I know, not to harp on this, we haven't even got to the Holloway fight yet, but going back to Dos Santos and Salikov, I feel like there's obviously judging is a highly, highly opinionated, but I feel like it was almost literal fact that Dos Santos did not lose all 3 rounds. Like, that's a fucking, I don't understand how one person on earth watched that fight and was like, he lost all 3 rounds.
It's crazy.
Did you kind of hear Buffer, like, he paused while reading it? Did either of you notice that?
Yes, I swear to God I did. Swear my life.
Crazy.
NJ Betting Guru too, bro. Last thing I'm gonna say on it, Mike, because I know you got to fucking move on. I watched his story, and he goes 30. They go 30-27. Oh, we got this. And he's like, oh, wait, like he was legitimately confused. His live reaction, legitimately like at a loss for words.
Yep.
Anyway, moving on.
Rightfully so. I mean, we're gonna get right back to this when we get to the Hollywood discussion, but I'm glad we talked about it now and in depth because it needs to be.
Yeah.
Up next. Whoa! Gotta say, I'm so pumped. I put money on Yuri Prochaska by KO. I just had something came over me right before the fight came in, and comes out there round 2, overhand right, pummeled with volume and just put the lights out, man. Volkan does not go out like that, man. I was so impressed, Matt.
Dude. So I, again, plus money, had him in a lot of parlays, and I bet him straight out of pure anger off of that Dos Santos fight. You know how I get when I lose, I'm like, fucking reload on the next one. I did exactly that. And when I saw him in the first round acting like, dude, he was acting like Nate Diaz against Anderson Silva. He was talking shit. He was leaving his chin out there. He was just taunting like wasn't his first time in the UFC. And I was like, and he got rocked like twice. And I was like, this is what I bet on. This is it. Round ends, and I was shitting. I was like, all right, he's definitely down a round because he got rocked twice. He fucking, and then he added to his resume and got another massive knockout. Dude, he walked off KO, like blasted him, absolutely blasted him. It was awesome. I'm pumped that he won because it's fresh blood in a division that I think really needs it. No one wanted to see Volkan win that fight. This guy's exciting. He clearly likes to talk shit, and he wants to go out there and bang. Like, get Volkan out of here. Let him be the gatekeeper that he is, and let's see what this kid could bring to the table. Chris?
I am a fucking asshole, dude. Everyone that would listen to me, I told to either A, bet Yuri in this fight, or B, bet this fight by knockout in general. Then I'm like looking into it, and like Saturday I'm having like straight up panic attacks, and I picked Volkan Ozdemir as one of my picks of the night. Lost fucking parlay with that asshole. Sorry, Volkan. But seriously, anyone that would fucking listen to me, our boys over at the Laying It Down podcast, you guys got to check that out because they know way more about sports than us. We know MMA better than anyone else, but I don't know shit about other sports. So if you want to know about other sports, our boys at Laying It Down will hook you up. But anyways, I was on their podcast hyping up Yuri as much as I could. They asked me for one underdog to bet on. I gave them his name. I was all over him, picked against him. Asshole move. He looked great. One thing I'm going to say though, Ariel Helwani said his footwork in the first round was Dominic Cruz-esque. Was I smoking crack, or was that not Dominic Cruz-esque?
Ariel is not good at analyzing fights. He's good at interviewing fighters. He's the softest pillow you'll ever see. But for him to say that is just stupidity.
He was moving a lot, but nothing like Cruz did. Like, Cruz looks like he's salsaing out there, for God's sakes. I mean, he had like awkward movement, but nobody moves like Dominic Cruz. And the only person even remotely close is TJ. Like, you can't compare the two. Fuck Ariel, dude. I hate that guy so much.
Yeah, speaking of Ariel, I usually disagree with a lot of that he says because he's usually so like emotional about what he's talking about that it just drives me crazy because, get a grip, dude. But I agree with him on a later point that I want to touch upon when we get to the Volkanovski fight. But yeah, great for Prochaska. Pumped to see what's next for him. He's got to put his hands up though, man. He leaves his chin out there. I mean, he can't be doing that. But Amanda Reed.
I think I would bet him over John Jones.
I just want John Jones to taste a little bit of defeat at this point, so I probably would too.
Matt will bet on literally a fucking broomstick to beat John Jones, and the day John Jones loses, Matt's like, dude, I told you guys, bro.
I told you. Every dog has his day, man. That's the sport of mixed martial arts. It's not boxing where everybody's undefeated. It's mixed martial arts where having a loss is totally normal. Anyway, boss dismantles Paige Van Zant, and Dana White's like, nah, yeah, maybe she should look for some open free agency. Bellator, what's up, Matt?
Bye, Paige. See you later. Thank God, man. That's exactly what I wanted to happen. I'm so glad that Dana was vocal in the post-fight too, like calling her out for her asking for all this money, and he's like, fucking test the waters. Look what just happened to you. You came back and were submitted literally immediately. Like, am I crazy, or she looked like she didn't even belong in there? I mean, she looked like how she was supposed to look, a plus 500 favorite or whatever it was, 600. You know, she built a platform for herself. She was on Dancing with the Stars. She has a great career. I'm not knocking her as a person. Do not fist fight anymore for a living. You literally do not have to. Your husband is a legitimate fighter. He's making money in Bellator. He'll probably be in the UFC one day. Do literally anything else. Stop getting hit in the face for a living. Like imagine she broke that arm again. Imagine Ribas just snapped her arm off. Like, just stop fighting. The gimmick's over. You're a fraud. Don't fight anymore, Paige. Please. Done.
Bro, she's not a fraud. She's just not very good. She's better than most of the girls in that division. 125 is shot.
Yeah, I mean, half the division's 10-10, dude. It's not
Yeah, Dana White at the post-fight press conference talking about it was literally like, yeah, she should test the waters elsewhere. He was so happy to see Amanda Ribas win, and I was too. I personally think Amanda Ribas is fucking hot. She's can scrap. I mean, she's got the at the not the press conference. The fuck am I looking? Like media day, she was killing it, dude. Everyone interview her. She's glowing. She speaks pretty good English compared to fucking Jose Aldo, who's been in America fucking his whole life and can't speak shit. I mean, granted, he was in Brazil. I'm exaggerating, but still, she's got it, and that's exactly what the UFC wanted to happen. Paige is, I would put money down that that's Paige's last fight ever in the UFC, and that's about it. She was getting paid off her good looks and her pull. But like I said on our last podcast, I think that pull and that little marketing push was kind of dying out. Like people aren't that interested in her anymore. I think her shtick's kind of up. She fights way too infrequently, and she's not that good, in my opinion. I'm obviously, I wouldn't say a fraud wouldn't be my word, but she's not very good. Yeah. I think Bellator could puff her up against some tomato cans and make her look like a fucking superstar, though.
Yeah. Yeah, fraud's a strong word. I would consider like someone like Spivak a fraud. Like, but, no, she's gonna do fine in Bellator, but she got paid 46, I think, to show or something like that. So Bellator is gonna have to pump up those numbers. So I mean, they have to overpay anyway if they want to get what they want. And which I think they're going to with Paige Van Zandt. They can make the whole power couple in the Bellator thing, make it work, shit like that. But
Bellator will pay her 150 to show, 150 to win, or they don't even do that anymore. They'll probably pay her 200 grand to fight, and her fucking opponent will make fucking 1,000 and get her ass beat in the first round.
Levels out. It levels out. Bullshit, but it levels out. Okay, next fight. This one was very good. It was a split decision, and I could see why. I did think Rose clearly won the first 2 rounds, but yeah, she wins a split decision over Jessica Andrade in their rematch. Matt.
MMA judges at it again. I don't see a planet where you scored any of those first two rounds for Andrade. I don't know, man. It's just, I mean, I get the third 100% she lost. She was beaten to a pulp. And props to Andrade for coming on strong and trying to finish that fight. I don't know if you two heard, but this kind of goes back to what Chris was saying with the open scoring, how that would be really beneficial if it wasn't for live betting. Both corners after the second round told their fighter they're fucking up 2-0. What are you doing? Especially if you're on Andrade's corner, like, you need to finish. Even if you think it's 1-1, like, why are you telling you're up 2-0? They literally went to Andrade's corner, you're up 2-0. Then they panned over to Rose and they said the same exact thing. And I'm sitting there like, dude, Jesus Christ. Like, Andrade, at best it was 1-1, but I don't know. That stuck out to me. I would never, ever, ever, even if I thought my fighter was up 2-0, I wouldn't tell them it was 2-0 because you don't want them to try to coast through a third or fifth round, depending on if it's a 3 or 5 round fight. You got to keep their mindset in there that they still have to compete. This is still a fight. And this person, if they think that they're down 0-2 on their end, they're coming to take your head off. I would never want that coast through mentality for my fighter. And I don't know, it stuck out to me. And I freaked out when I heard both of them say that. Chris?
I agree with you, but like you just said, Matt, going back to what you literally just said, that's the reason why I don't want open scoring. Because if my fighter, if I'm a corner and my fighter's up 2-0, I do not want them fucking coasting through the third round. Rose Namajunas coasting and backing up and throwing a jab out there against Jessica Andrade in the third round is literally the recipe to get fucking drilled and knocked out. So that's my only thing against it. I had it 2-1 Rose. I thought that was pretty fucking clear, but Yeah, props to Rose. She was in a good mental space too. She looked really, really good before, during, and after the fight. She got drilled a couple times during the fight and was smiling. Doug Rose, sick fuck. After the fight, super happy, really good spirits. Love to see it. Happy for her. Let's get it. One of my picks. Let's go.
Yeah, I think all of us actually had her as our pick, so we all got this dub, which was a pretty smart pick. You know, she clearly won those 2 rounds. Those judges are retarded. Next
I
fight,
cashed out on that fight too. That was the ending piece to like 4 parlays. I was hyped.
bro. Same here. Rose Muslim and Alex Volkanovski are all like part of everything for me. So I lucked out on obviously 2 of those. Piotr Jan dismantles Jose Aldo in the 5th round. Hard to watch, late stoppage. I understand what the ref was trying to do because, you know, it's a title fight. You want to give them every chance, every possible, you know, way to get out of whatever position they're in. And obviously Jose Aldo is a legend, so the referee knows that he's capable of anything. But it clearly went on for too long. And, you know, props to Piotr Jan. He busted all of our underdog picks, Matt.
I mean, I agree with Mike to a degree, but Mark Goddard, to quote yourself, it was Goddard, correct? It wasn't Goddard?
I think it was Leon Roberts.
I think it was Leon Roberts.
Okay. All right. Well, that point goes out the window, but dude, I don't know, man. I've seen fights stop for a lot less, and I'm always Mr. It was stopped early. I was screaming for that fight to be stopped.
He dies, he dies.
Dude, and Jan is fucking crazy good, dude. He came out in that 5th round knowing that Aldo was on his last leg. Like he fishing dead. What's the saying? Like fish in water, dead fish, whatever the fuck it is.
Fish out of water.
Fish out of water. Like he knew that fight was on its last leg, and he came out and put it on Aldo. I don't know where Aldo goes from here, because he really didn't take much damage up until that 4th round, and he gassed. He 100% gassed. I do not know for the life of me, and both commentators said it, I don't know why he abandoned the leg kicks. After the 2nd round, he stopped throwing leg kicks. Why? They were working. Jan kept switching his stance, and you could tell that he wasn't as comfortable when he switches his stance. And Aldo was getting off more offense. I forget if it was the 2nd or 3rd round. He hurt him. I don't know, man. I didn't get that game plan from Aldo at all. But again, his gas tank just didn't hold up, and that's why everyone says he's the best fighter in the world for two rounds, 3, or whatever the case is. But, you know, man, we'll see what's next for him. I don't see it. That fucking division's a Shark Tank. You probably have Aljo fighting for the belt next. You know, they're talking about Cody and Marlon. Like, Aldo's not beating any of those guys. So we'll see what happens. But props to Jan. He looked incredible. And Sterling and him is going to be a fucking fight, guys. I'm excited for when that's announced. And if it's not Sterling next, I'm in the shit. Chris?
Before I start, I mean, if you guys even remember, do you guys know how you had that scored going into the 5th?
I think Aldo needed to finish.
I
had it tied. I actually had it tied.
I had it 2-2, which is why I'm asking, because this is, again, another fucking point where if you look at that fight, who the fuck is winning the fight going to the 5th round? Petr Yan is clearly Piotr. I keep saying Petr. Fucking Piotr Yan is winning the fight, clearly going to the 5th round. But I'm going to look it up, because I think in my opinion, it was 2-2 going to the 5th round, which is fucking nuts, because he was clearly ahead in that fight. In the 1st round, he had Aldo wincing from a fucking body shot. So it's like, dude, you know what I mean? What'd you say?
You're talking about that rib shot on the ground, right? Yeah. That was crazy, dude. He hurt his body from ground and pound. I've never seen that. Yeah, dude. So that's what I mean. Like, again, the scoring is just fucked. Like, if you're watching that fight, it's even going to the 5th round, essentially. But anyway, I doubt Piotr Yan. I was one of his doubters. I totally will say that. I just said he didn't fight stiff enough competition to be fighting. That title fight should have been Petr versus Aljo to begin with. Anyway, I think they're going to fight next for the real belt, even though this is the real fucking belt. Also, with that being said, Aldo, I'm not counting him out yet, man. He looked good. I mean, he looked better almost going to the 5th round in these fights than he did going to the 3rd round against Holloway, up a weight class. You know what I mean? So it doesn't look like the 135-pound weight cut is hurting him too negatively. So I'd like to see him,
maybe give him one more shot at the top of the division. I know Marlon and Aldo seems like a thing, but, maybe like a Sandhagen fight. That would be great. You know what I mean? Someone that's beatable because, Aldo can't be fucking taken down for shit. So something like that, because I still think he's like 33, I think. So everyone thinks he's like 100 years old. He's only 33, so he's still got time left in the division. Peryan, I know I just said I won't doubt you anymore. I just want to see, last thing, I want to see his takedown defense against Aljo, because Aljo's gonna get him down at some point, and he's gonna be. I think Aljo's gonna look a lot bigger than him in the octagon. So I'm curious. I'm so stoked for that fight. I'm gonna be rooting my ass off for Aljo. Sorry, Petter, but yeah.
Andy, Funk.
Sorry, Mike. Go ahead. I was just gonna say I'm such a big fan of Aljo now. Like, he's creeping in my top 5. I want him to win that fight so bad.
Absolutely. And I was gonna say he's got that real funky stand up that like works for him, man. Because like he was beating up Jimmy Rivera, who's known for his stand up. So I'm excited to see how that fares against any opponent, really, because it's so funky and he makes it work. So that's exciting. Up next, here we go. Controversy. Alex Volkanovski wins a split decision over Max Holloway, and the judges were just kind of all over the place on this one, disagreeing with the general public. So what I was going to say, that the one thing I agreed with Ariel Helwani is, like, when you think of the word robbery, I think of like 4 rounds to 1, and then they give it to the guy who won 1 round. Like, this was a very close fight, and I wanted to give tremendous amount of props for Volkanovski for realizing after the third round, because I think that's when he realized, he goes, shit, I'm losing this fight, and he turned it on in 4th and 5th. Man, that's some champion shit right there. Whereas in the first fight, it was like the complete opposite. Max Holloway turned it up in the 4th and 5th round. But I don't think it was a robbery, because it was such a close fight. But the problem is the judging discrepancy against the vast general public. So like, I don't throw that word robbery around lightly. The Salikov fight was pretty much a robbery. I'll give it that. That's ridiculous. But this fight was so freaking close, and I want to see a third. It probably won't happen, at least not right away, but I do want to see a third, Matt.
I'm so glad you said that, Mike. And for those who follow us on Instagram, you would actually see, granted, it doesn't break it down as much as it needs to be. Volkanovski did have a striking differential, like 35 or 38. Again, that takes leg kicks into consideration. A lot, obviously. It's all strikes. But props to him for turning it on in the 4th and 5th. I was biased. I had $650 on the Volkanovski straight. I had him in a bunch of parlays. I was biased. I, in the moment, said he won that 3rd round. I want to go back and rewatch it. And the only defense I'll give to Volkanovski, and you always hear it, and cases can be made for so many other title fights, if you're going to beat a champ by decision, it better be convincing. They're not going to – and you see it all the time happen. They're not going to give a belt away if it's razor thin close, whatever the fucking saying is. None of us could get our sayings right tonight. They're not – it's just – you don't see it happen. You saw it in Robbie Lawler, Carlos Condit, Woodley Thompson, if I'm correct.
Bones and Reyes.
Yeah, you just don't see it. So – and it goes back to what we were saying. What could Holloway do different? To me, it was the same exact fight with the rounds flipped. Volkanovski won the tail end. Max won the early, as opposed to the previous fight. It was flipped. So, again, I was talking about this last night, actually, with Sean Yadamarco, Chris. And we were saying how Max does deserve a rematch. But the problem is, say Max wins. Okay, sure. Then they obviously have to fight again. What, you can have a 5-round series? Like, say Max ties it up 2-2. I'm sorry, like, I just don't want to see that. And there's other guys, like Cater puts out Ige tomorrow night. Like, all of a sudden, he's right back in the mix. If I'm Dana, if Cater puts him out, makes quick work, I'm trying to book a 5-rounder title eliminator with Cater and Zabit immediately. There's just other guys that are coming up in that division of Korean Zombie. I do not want to see a rematch. And I'm a huge fan of Holloway, so I feel horrible for him that he has to go through this. And I again, agree with Mike. It's not robbery. You just have to do a little bit more to take the belt. The decision 100%, in my opinion, should have went the other way, and it could have, but it didn't. That's the fight game. It's not robbery. Get over it, people. That's not robbery. There's been a lot fucking worse. Chris?
I agree to like 80% of everything you just said. The one thing that I disagree is just like, the old saying, to be the champ, you got to beat the champ, and that's true to an extent. But at the same time, it's fucking not. Like, at the end of the day, if you win 3 fucking rounds, you win the fight. You know what I mean? With you, also what you said, you're clearly right, because I mean, round 3, you said you scored for Volkanovski, so did all 3 of the fucking judges. So me and Mike are technically in the minority. I guess not really, but anyway. To be the champ, you got to beat the champ. Like I said, I don't agree with that. Like, if you win 3, the same thing when people say that like rounds 4 and 5 count more. No, they fucking don't. There's 5 rounds. You got to win 3 to win the fight. So if you win 3 rounds, you win the fight. I personally thought Max won 3 rounds. I think I'm more salty about it than Max himself is. So, but going with what you said, Matt, I agree. You can't do it a third time. Because if Max, what do? Max wins the third time. You're like, all right, Volk, sorry, we already saw this 20 times, even though you won twice. You know what I mean? You can't do that to him. It's not right. I do think, though, that with Max being, people say consensus, you want to say Aldo, him, whatever the fuck's the greatest featherweight of all time in your book, whatever. I would love to see Zombie fight Volkanovski. I know. Is him versus Ortega, is that fucking like, is it a thing yet?
I haven't heard Ortega. I was telling, I was just saying, I was talking to Sean about it. I haven't heard Ortega's name in months. Is he hurt still?
I am not an Ortega fan. I've never been an Ortega fan. I rooted my ass off for Max against him. I bet a lot of money on Max against him. My heart was broken when Ortega beat Frankie Edgar because, like I always say, Frankie Edgar is basically what got me to be fucking doing this. But anyway, I think Zombie's going to beat the shit out of him. I don't know if that's just me. I think Zombie's going to mop the floor with Ortega. I think his takedown defense is too good. He's going to bop him up on the feet. So I think you do, if with that being said, or even so, just give fucking Zombie to Volkanovski. No one will be mad at that. And then I know Yair and Zabit are going to fight. I wanted to see Max versus Zabit because I think Max would expose him. But that's just me. But I think Max is 1 away with the right scenario. Like, if Volk loses the belt, Max is 1 fight away from fighting for the belt again. So
I think.
I mean,
go ahead, Chris. Sorry, I thought you were done.
no,
that
was it. I was just gonna say. So I was gonna say, like you just said, see what happens with Cater this weekend. We still got to get into that, but yeah, I agree with you.
I think that anybody that fights Zabit in a 5-round fight exposes him. I think Cater beats him. I think Max beats him. I think Volkanovski beats him. I think Ortega could beat him. He's dangerous. Yeah. He's dangerous early, but we've seen him gas, and I do not trust him past the 3rd round. I really don't. And
Ortega's the only one that I'm like, I don't know if Ortega can beat him.
You're not a big Ortega, and I get that. I don't know, man. Ortega's jits is so fucking slick.
Zabit's fucking good everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I would like to see. I would love to see. There's a lot of matchups to be made right now, but who did you just say? That's why I wanted to ask you. Who did you just say Korean Zombie, you said, would get worked by Zabit?
No. I said Zabit would work Ortega.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Max would work Zabit, is what I said.
Yeah, okay. I'll agree. I would like to see Ortega and him fight, but, I think that would make the most – yeah, I think that would make the most sense if Dana doesn't want to rebook Cater and Zabit for a 5-rounder. I think Dana's got to look at that last fight, look at what happened in the 3rd round, and said we need this as a main event. I think that's the way to go. As long as Cater wins tomorrow night.
That's one of my favorite. What I just did is one of my favorite things to do to people in the gym, and I don't even know if you guys realized it. You just drink water, and like a random person in the gym, you just let it run out of your mouth like you're fucking retarded. And people will always look at you weird. I just did it, and neither one of you had a reaction at all. So people watching the YouTube video now are just gonna think I'm a fucking moron. Meanwhile, it's literally just water on my carpet right now.
For the pod.
All for the views.
All right, guys, let's get to this main event. There's really not much to say. Masvidal looked a little bit tired. 6 days notice. Couldn't, stop the takedown well, but couldn't get him off the fence. It is what it is, as Max Holloway would say. I want that damn belt. Says he wants an immediate rematch. Come on, ain't no shot, Jorge. You got to fight at least 2, maybe 3 more times before you get back up there. Realistically, he's going to be getting the money fights now on. Like, he's fine. But to break down the fight, like, he lost arguably every round. Like, even the first round was like, everyone's like, oh, Jorge won the first round. You can make the argument that he lost. He got taken down for like 3 minutes at a time. He just completely outclassed, And then, like, the thing that I don't really like saying, because I love the sport and I love the skills of these fighters, but I'm just not a Kamaru Usman fan. the way he fights is undoubtedly boring. But at the end of the day, winning makes more money. Having the belt makes more money. So I get it. But I don't know. I don't think his stock goes up after this at all. Whereas Masvidal is probably, stays the same or goes up because who he is. He's the reason why they got 1.3 million pay-per-view buys. Let's not joke. It would have done like 350 if it was Gilbert Burns. So Matt.
Dude, I'm so disappointed. After I talked up Usman last week, literally saying he's going to be like a top 5, top 3 GOAT, he goes out there with all the animosity, all the shit talking. He stomps on his foot for 5 fucking rounds. Like, come on, dude. Like, and props to Masvidal for not going to the ground. And every time he did, he got right back up. Like, I don't know. You're that big of a favorite. Like, he fought to not lose, and he does it in a lot of his fights. The only reason I think he couldn't do it against Colby is because, you see, styles make matchups. Colby's style canceled it out. They weren't going to wrestle each other. It's why Askren and fucking Maya had a boxing match that nobody wanted to do. But he held him up against the cage. He couldn't get him on his ass, and when he did, Masvidal popped right back up. He couldn't land any significant ground and pound. And just with all that build up, Dana said it was like the next fight people wanted to see after he compared it to a Conor fight. And then that happens. And so many people I talked to were disappointed. I get it. You want to retain the belt. You want to win. Fucking A, dude. And Mike, you said it yourself. Yeah, even though I think you were wrong. I think you said he had 1 knockout. He has 2, if I'm correct, in his career. He has Moraes and
John Morris and
Colby. But regardless, you got to get some finishes. You got to at least try. Shoulder strikes and stomping on the foot for 5 rounds. Masvidal looked the same leaving the octagon as when he walked in. He really wasn't beat up. He was tired. And call me crazy, I thought Masvidal looked bigger when they were up against the cage. I said it I thought he looked like a bigger person. I don't know why, but I don't know, dude. I was disappointed. And as late as this card went, because the 3 title fights basically all went the distance, I didn't want to be up at 1:30 in the morning watching that. I don't know, Chris.
Well, I'm the biggest fucking asshole ever because I literally cannot tell you the last time I watched a pay-per-view, stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning watching that, and then stayed up and watched the post-fight show, the interviews, the whole night. I slept till 4 o'clock in the morning when the fight's on, but I can't talk shit because UK fans and stuff are up that late just to watch pay-per-view. But anyway, I told anyone who would listen, I said it on the Laying It Down podcast again with our buddy Craig over there, this fight was going to be competitive, especially on 6 days' notice. Anyone that would listen, there's Jackson reaches out, I want to bet on Masvidal. Don't fucking bet on Masvidal. You're going to lose your money. The betting public just brought that line way down. I saw Usman open, I think, minus 320. Right before the fight, he was minus 230. You know how much value you're losing in that? Even if you bet on Masvidal and by some fucking miracle you won, you're still losing a ton of value in that bet. I'm not this fucking analytical genius over here, but it doesn't take a lot to see that Masvidal is going to that's always how that fight was going to go. DC said it after the fight too. That's what was always going to happen. I saw that happening. I'm not a genius. I think all 3 of us pretty much saw that happening. I don't think anyone really thought that Masvidal is going to win. Yeah, that's it. Also, the last thing, Usman is getting a lot of the blame for making it boring. I get it. The fight was not entertaining. But at the same time, he had the fight on his terms 95% of the time. Masvidal, you don't want to be in the fucking cage getting your foot stomped. Get off the fucking cage. And again, much easier said than done. I'm a pussy. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, you can't come out after the fight and be like, oh, he just held me against the cage, blah, 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 blah. Get off the fucking cage then. You know what I mean? Usman held you against the cage because that's what Usman wanted to do. He's, what's the word I'm looking for? Implementing his will on you. You lost.
Right.
End of story. I don't want to see that again.
Dude, yeah, I was just talking to my little brother yesterday, and he goes, "Oh, that main event was so boring, man. That fight should have been different. He should have knocked him out." And I'm just like, you think Masvidal wanted to be against the cage for 5 rounds, getting his foot stomped? Do you think that was his game plan? Stop being a casual. I can't stand it, man. It was what was supposed to happen. It's what we said was going to happen, and it is what happened. people can't be mad about that. You just can't. And if you are, you're a casual that only buys Conor McGregor fights and Jorge Masvidal fights. Okay, so shut the fuck up.
I really didn't think it'd go that way. I thought Masvidal was going to put him on his ass and keep him there and pound his face.
You're splitting hairs at this point. You know, it's the same thing.
Granted, like MMA math never makes sense, but Maya got him down and kept him there longer than he did, and we know what Usman did to Maya. I don't know. I thought he would have an easier time getting him to the ground and keeping him there and mixing in some ground and pound. But you know what? That's why they fight, right?
Yeah,
I literally thought it was going to be minus 400.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been correct. But, I mean, anything else to say on this, guys, before we head into Fight Island 1?
The last thing is pretty funny because, you know, the internet is fucking undefeated. On the flight over to Abu Dhabi, I don't know if you saw the clip, it was on Embedded, and Dana White walks over to Usman and goes, hope you're ready to snore, or you're going to hear a lot of snoring, because he fucking sleeps a lot, and he said he snores, and people already cropped it to, like, Dana watching the Usman fight. Hope you're ready to snore.
Undefeated, man. That is
the internet's the best. But yeah, baby, bring us in, Mike. Let's hear it.
All right, baby. Okay, so as always, couple real low-level fights on this card. We are going to make picks, but please don't tail us. And if you do tail us, it has to be on the picks that we post on Fight Day, which will be tomorrow, Wednesday. Those are our 3 picks that we're most confident in, 1 lock and 1 dog. Those are the ones that we really are confident in. So if we make a pick on some random ass fight on here and you don't see it on our Instagram post tomorrow, please know that we aren't confident in these picks. So just full disclosure here. First fight, Aaron Phillips, UFC guy back in the day, going up against I think he's like minus 700 right now, Jack Shore. Kid's an animal. Matt, you ready?
Why can I never find these fucking cards in order? I thought Kenneth Berg was the first fight, no?
No, that fight is
off
canceled.
the card.
Yeah. Oh, thank God, dude. So just real quick, we watch tape on literally everything, unless we know it's like Conor. I'm not watching tape on Conor McGregor. Like, we just know certain fighters because we're fans of the sport. But guys like Kenneth Berg and Jorge Gonzalez, we have to watch tape. I looked for hours yesterday to find something on Gonzalez, and everything I found looked like it was filmed with a fucking potato. That is what half of this card is. So to reiterate, Mike, do not bet on anything that we are saying right now, because we watched these fights over the last couple days, and these guys are low level. If there wasn't a card in the middle of the week, they probably wouldn't be fighting. That being said, Jack Shore is legit. He's going to win this fight. He was very impressive last time out. His striking is smooth as fuck. His grappling is even better. He's 100% going to win this fight. Aaron Phillips, I don't know much about him. I know this is his second UFC stint. He 0-2. His first stint went on a 6-fight win streak in World Championship Fighting, I think, or some shit like that. But yeah, Jack Shore is going to win, and he's a legit fighter. Keep your eyes open for this kid. I'm excited to see what comes of him. Chris?
Yeah, Jack Shore, he was a Cage Warriors champ, bantamweight champ. A lot of guys from Cage Warriors, a lot of ex-Cage Warriors champ come over to the UFC and do fucking great things. McGregor, Bisping, a lot of guys. So, I mean, yeah, there's not too much to say here. Like I said, minus 700 favorite. Phillips was in the UFC back in, 2013, 2014, lost all his fights. So not too much to say about it. I know he fought Chris Gutierrez, too, and lost outside of the UFC. So, yeah, he's going to lose here, too. One note I want to make. 2 things I'm going to say real quick aside from this. 1, I already forgot. One just slipped my mind. 2, if you're listening to this, screenshot this on YouTube right now or wherever you're listening. Screenshot this on Apple Music or iTunes or fucking Spotify or YouTube and send it to our Twitter and Instagram and tag us in it with the timestamp. And we're getting T-shirts made, and I'll send you a T-shirt if you do that.
Yep, hats are already here.
Yeah, trying to hook the boys up.
Got backpacks, shirts, we got it all. So do that and get it to you.
Screenshot this, tweet it, Instagram it, whatever. Send you a shirt. Thank you, boys. First 3 people to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Real quick, Jack Shore is going to win. He's going to win. Aaron Phillips can't stop takedowns, and Shore's takedowns are absolutely flawless. Great stand up, kid's the complete package. Put him in all your parlays, full line. Matt, he's going to win.
Yeah.
Next, we got Diana Belbita going up against Liana Jojua. And usually I pass it right to you, Matt, but I got to say something real quick. I talked to you guys before this. If you've seen Jojua fight, she can't fight. She can't. She's got a couple submission wins on her game, but if you look at all the people she's faced, they're all 0-1, 0-0 debuting fighters. And then she comes in the UFC. She fights Sarah Moraz, who's 2-6 in the UFC or something like that. 6-6 as a pro fighter. She's atrocious. And Sarah Moraz beat her up for 3 rounds and TKO'd her in the 3rd round. That alone tells you she's not a fighter. It was just an atrocious performance. Whereas Belbita on the other side, she's got a better record, 15-4 or something like that. But and another all of her wins outside the UFC are also against 0-0, 0-1, all these like super low levels. So this is super low level, and at a super low level, the volatility is skyrockets. So. But in this particular fight, I do think Belbita is going to whoop her ass. She fought Molly McCann, and it was like not a close fight, but she had a good showing. She's tough as hell, scrambles, gets back to her feet. She's always throwing, good cardio. So I think she absolutely mollywops Jojua and just destroys her. Matt.
What Mike said. Belbita, Chris.
Literally, they're both young, 24 for Belbita, 25 for Jojua, who fucking, to reiterate what I said, sucks at fighting. I'm literally going to ride with Belbita here for 3 reasons. 1, she's the favorite. 2, she fought Molly McCann and Ariane Lipsky, granted lost, just more experience. She has more experience against better competition. With that being said, super low level MMA fight, Belbita next.
Boom, next. Here we go. Jared Flash Gordon. Big fan, fan favorite. Anybody that knows him respects him and all the shit that he's gone through. So good guy. Going up against, I think, another Cage Warriors guy, Chris Fishgold, who's 1-2 in the UFC. Matt.
This is a hard fight to cap. Very biased because I am a fan of Gordon. For those who don't know, he's overdosed like 3 times. He's beaten the odds, and now he's in the fucking UFC. He's pretty good. He's a very capable fighter, and there's nothing like seeing a guy like that get his hand raised in the octagon. It's very heartwarming, and you love to see it. That being said, I don't know how I feel about this fight. You know exactly what Chris Fishgold wants to do. There's a little hype around them coming into the UFC. He hasn't panned out at all, to be honest. He's got I think 80 or 90% of his wins are by submission. And Gordon likes to stand and bang. So Fishgold has actually had some trouble with that. Guys that want to throw because he can get dragged into a brawl and he just doesn't excel there at all. But I think I am going to go with Fishgold here. I think he has a clear path to victory if the fight does go to the ground. And I think he's able to get it there. Again, it's just, you don't know who's going to show up with either of these guys. That's why the line is the way it is. Right now, I'm picking Fishgold. I probably wouldn't parlay him anywhere unless New Jersey Betting Guru tells me otherwise. Chris, what do you think?
So I agree with you. When I a week or 2 ago, when I was like, okay, then I'm starting to look at the fights ahead. I'm like, oh, Jared Gordon's going to win this fight. Now my opinion's changing for a few reasons. Also, and what you said, Jared Gordon, I always knew the heroin, the whole thing. He was dead. He was literally pronounced dead for over 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I knew he was the whole drug addiction thing. I knew all that, but I never knew that. Anyway, also, these are my reasoning why I'm going to say it off the bat. I'm rooting for Jared Gordon. I think that Chris Fishgold has this. He was a Cage Warriors champion at 155 and defended the belt 4 times. So bigger guy, you'd assume. He missed weight. Like I said earlier in their podcast, a lot of times when you miss weight, especially by 3 pounds, 4 pounds if it was a title fight, that's a big fucking difference when you're fighting at 145. So that's another reason. And lastly, Jared Gordon has no corner. His cornermen all tested positive for COVID. Paul Felder is actually coming off the desk for 1 fight to corner Jared Gordon. Obviously, that's not his natural corner. It might as well, it's just someone to wipe his fucking sweat off his head. So everything's pointing against Jared Gordon here, and he's the favorite. So I might shout you this now and call Fishgold my underdog, but we'll see.
Yeah. I've been going back and forth with this for a while now, and off the top of my head right now, I don't really know who I'm going to pick because I think the fight's going to go one of 2 ways. Fishgold's stand-up isn't nothing to write home about. He throws hard as hell in like the first round, seems to gas. And then Flash Gordon's chin is shot. He's been knocked out in 3 of his last 4 fights, like viciously knocked out. It's clear that Fishgold wants to grapple, but Flash Gordon, he's not going to be easy to take down. He's got good defensive wrestling, and his cardio definitely is better than Fishgold's. We've seen Fishgold kind of like melt and fall apart, honestly, in a couple of his fights. Specifically the Calvin Kattar fight, he just got pieced up too many times, blew his load in the first round and just got pieced up. Makwan submitted him, so Makwan's a wizard on the ground. I just, as of right now, I think the only reason I'm leading Jared Gordon is because if Fishgold can't get him out of there in the first round, Jared might coast 2 and 3 and just pick him apart on the feet, because Fishgold's stand-up is pretty low level, and if he can't get it to the ground, it's gonna be a long night for him. The only thing that Fishgold can really do is secure a takedown and submit him, maybe, or just get lucky with one of those shots on Jared's suspect chin and knock him out. So I think I'm leaning with Jared Gordon, which I usually never do, but at the betting window, I'm not touching this one. This one's too volatile. Next up, 2 UFC newcomers, Modestas Bukauskas, going up against Andreas Michailidis. Matt.
Jesus Christ. Bukaki. I'm not, again, I say it every podcast, I'm not going to front. There's just some female fighters, man, you don't bet them and you just can't watch them. UFC roster, when it comes to the female divisions, is
they're dudes.
They're guys.
They're dudes.
Oh my fucking God.
I thought you were going somewhere with this. I was like, where the fuck is he going with this?
They're dudes.
All right, Chris, you got to give me something.
So, again, so let's put it this way, to just prove that we know nothing about these guys, listen to what Matt just fucking said. With that being said, after my research is, my successful MMA handicapping, Mr. Bukaki is 10-2, where Michailidis is 12-3. Michailidis has fought legitimately nobody. His biggest win is Marcel Fortuna, for however much you take that into consideration. Marcel Fortuna fucking sucks. I would say that Modestas Bukauskas, or Mr. Bukaki, has the only thing I'm basing it off here. What are the odds on this one, by the way? But I'm strictly off the top of my head from what I've read. I'm going to go Bukauskas on this one strictly because he has better experience in bigger promotions.
Yeah, he's a minus 230.
There you fucking go.
Yeah, and so I did watch a little bit of tape on each guy, and it's pretty clear that Mr. Bukaki has 0 takedown defense. He was getting taken down at will. But I'll give him a lot of credit. He's really good at get back in the feet, and he's good at his cardio is, really awesome for light heavyweight, whereas Andreas gasses his ass off and if he makes it past the second round. So I'm going to go with the favorite here. I think it's pretty much a lock. Mr. Bukaki for the win.
Yeah, I'm going to go Bukaki too.
All right, Matt's back on planet Earth now. Okay, next fight. This one's actually pretty interesting. Ricardo Ramos, slight favorite, minus 163 over Lerone Murphy. I just found out today it's Lerone. Is it Liron? It's something like that.
It's
Lerone
weird.
Murphy.
So I just watched his fight against Zabura, and I was trying really hard to listen to his corner to see what they were calling him, and I think it's like Lerone or something like that. But
dude,
it's pronounced weird because he's like British or he's from some shit like that.
This is something bad. Never mind.
Anyway, so I think this line is sketchy because watching, as much as I've seen of Ramos, he's been around for a while, and then having watched Murphy, Ramos has a very clear path to victory. He's got pretty unorthodox stand-up, but his strength is on the ground. And if you watch that Zabura fight, he got taken down at will, Murphy. He did have a couple – he's only a blue belt. He has a couple slick submission attempts. He used the Kimura a lot to get up. He pulled guard a couple times for a guillotine, but he was piecing him up on the feet. but I think he only defended like 2 takedowns the whole fight. So to me, the recipe for success for Ramos is there. So I'm definitely taking him. I was impressed with Murphy's gas tank though. Saburo was gassing. But again, that makes it even more sketchy that he couldn't fend off these takedowns until like a minute left in the first round. And he didn't seem there yet grappling. And fucking Ramos is 7 wins by sub. So you know exactly where he's going to try to get the fight. And I don't know, maybe I don't know if you guys watched that fight again recently. I don't know how they ruled that Murphy fight a draw. I think he lost 100%. I think he won the second round. The third round, though, he didn't do anything, but he kept just getting put on his ass. I don't know. He definitely lost the first round. He got dropped, and then he kind of woke up, and he looked a lot better. But I think Ramos has a clear path to victory here, and if it goes to the ground, you're getting what you're getting. You're getting a brown belt versus the fucking blue belt. So I'm going to probably do the under, and I'm probably going to do Ramos, and I'm probably going to sprinkle in a submission bet there, depending on the line. Chris?
Real quick, Mike, what were you about to say? I saw when he said that you laughed. You were about to say something.
I gave rounds 2 and 3 to Murphy. I thought he won, and I got to say, he was taken down, but he was like so quick to like, scramble and try to get back to his feet. I thought it was a very close fight, especially because he was like a 3-1 dog.
Yeah, I mean, I could see a case being made for it because while Zaburo was taking him down, he was doing nothing with it. And it was the third round where he had a couple guillotines that if it was the first round and they're not all sweaty, they're probably locked in. They were tight. So I see, I like that you said that because I hate when fights when fighters are given a round solely because they're landing takedowns and not doing anything with them, which is that round in a nutshell. It's landing takedowns, holding up against the fence, wasn't doing anything, and the offense was still coming from Murphy. So I stand corrected.
And
I
the
agree.
fight was in Abu Dhabi, so at least Murphy will probably be in at least somewhat similar territory.
Yeah.
I'll just take this and I'll swing it over to you, Chris, because I was talking a little bit already. But my thing on this, I'll tell you right now, I'm picking Murphy. I think Ramos is a little bit too comfortable on the feet sometimes, gets lured into a brawl. When his strong suit is clearly his submissions, but he's going for spinning elbows and stuff like that. I've seen him get a little bit gassed, which you just said. Murphy had a crazy awesome gas tank for someone that was like trying to get up the whole time against Bogatov. I think Murphy's like kind of a dark horse that people aren't giving enough credit to because he's only got that one draw against Bakugov. But I was going to say, I think Murphy, the line is, I was going to say the line is close for a reason. A lot of these fights on this card are very, wide, like minus 300, minus 400 favorites. And this line is close. And I think it's appropriate. Like Ramos, he got that one crazy loss to Said Nurmagomedov, but he's been pretty sound other than that. But I just see a lot of holes in his game where he gets hit. He gets a little bit gassed. He's just kind of like a wild man, whereas Murphy is like so composed for his first UFC fight against such a tough opponent like that. Like I was just very impressed with that. And a slight dog like this, I'm going to go with like Murphy by a decision. Chris.
Yeah, I love that, Mike. I like what you said. I'm personally going to go Ramos in this one. I've been pretty high on him. I saw him live at 217 when he knocked out Firas Zahabi's brother bad. And I was like, oh, fuck, this might be someone to watch. And I don't know if that was his first – I'm trying to think how many fights he's had in the UFC. He definitely has significantly more experience. This is one of the reasons why I'm riding with him also. That kind of put him on my radar big time, and I like what he's doing. I agree with you that Lerone, whatever we're going with here, Murphy, I think he won that Tukugov fight for sure. I thought he won rounds 2 and 3, and I remember, which is in my notes because I remember it vividly, I wrote LOL at Matt because I remember Matt on the 3-1 favorite, like, what the fuck? That was on 242, right? That was on the Poirier card with the beat.
When I rewatched it, I vividly remembered it. So that means they scored the first round 10-8, no?
No, I don't know what the scorecards were, but maybe one way or the other.
The first round he got dismantled. He got knocked, and then he was on his ass the rest of the round. So it would probably
be
10-8, and then they gave 2 and 3 to Murphy.
There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna go with Ramos on this one. Like I said, just my reasoning being more experience in the UFC, and I think that in that fight with Zubara, Murphy was, like Matt said, he was pulling guard. He was like shooting for a guillotine, and that's Ramos's world. So I can see him just, being willing to brawl. And then if Murphy does pull some move like that, I could see Ramos just taking over.
Yeah. We all have good takes on this. I think we touched every aspect of this fight. This might have been one of our best breakdown of in a while. I actually like that a lot. Next up, John.
Like, it's your boner.
John, zero ground game Phillips going up against Khabib's, long lost twin. I'm definitely gonna butcher his name, so excuse me. Khamzat Chimaev, 6-0. Matt.
So, dude, I mean, John Phillips is the definition of he is what he is. I think he is 22 wins, 20 by knockout. He's gonna plod forward and throw fucking bombs. The guy hits like a truck, but it's literally his only path to victory. I was able to find some tape on Khamzat. He looks pretty fucking good, man. I mean, I don't know how he's gonna fare in the UFC, but I was impressed. And coming in the UFC at only 6-0, and he's minus 335. Clearly, there's a reason for that, and I'm definitely favoring him. His striking looked legit. His takedowns looked awesome. It looks like he's well-rounded literally everywhere, as opposed to what Phillips is. And the only way Phillips wins is the only way he ever wins, if he catches him with a big overhand. And I'm going to hope that doesn't happen. And I'm going to go Khamzat. I'm going to go the other guy. Chris?
So real quick for our listeners, I run our MMA Gossip Twitter account. These boys split up the Instagram account. So because I've been running the Twitter for a while now, Khamzat's actually been on my radar strictly because of Kaposa, who he's like one of the most famous people on MMA Twitter. He's just this kid from Long Island, from Long Island, who just knows literally everything there ever is to know about MMA, and he's been behind him for a while. Now, my take on this fight, being that he was on my radar, he's actually a welterweight. So this fight's at middleweight. Obviously, John Phillips is a big fucking boy. So he is well-rounded, to what Matt said. Khamzat is very well-rounded. He's good on the feet, good on the ground. He can wrestle his fucking ass off. I mean, if you're fucking born on that side of the world, you basically have to wrestle in order to survive. But John Phillips made a big stink to get into the UFC. Remember, he was all over the place. Social media was blowing up. Got to the UFC, did absolutely fucking nothing. He got submitted by fucking Charles Byrd, who's literally probably my least favorite fighter in the UFC.
Is that the guy that gave up recently?
Yeah, recently, every fucking fight. Yeah. He is a true middleweight, John Phillips. Like I said, fighting a welterweight, but I think the not cutting weight basically could almost help Khamzat. John Phillips sucks, and I think he's gonna get wrestle fucked the first 2 rounds and gas the fuck out. So that's my take on that. 35 years old, nowhere to go.
Yeah, I couldn't said it better myself. This guy's going to mollywop, ragdoll this kid around. I think it's going to be a first-round finish. As soon as Phillips is on his back, he's like a fish out of water, man. He's shot. And this guy is ground and pound. He's got those hammer fists where he's like getting all the momentum in his elbow, swinging down on that thing like a sledgehammer, man. He's going to fuck him up, man. I have no doubt. Put him in all your parlays. Next up, this one I'm interested in very, very much because I'm definitely going probably against you guys. We got Abdul Razak Khalistan finally putting to bed all that, allegations, legal trouble, all that bullshit he was in. 22 months away from the sport. He's coming back. Obviously had some crazy success in the octagon going up against this newcomer. I think he's from Brave, somewhere on, the other side of the earth. His name is Munir Lazez. Matt, take it away.
Dude, after listening to you two talk earlier, you're right. I don't see a reason that Hassan should be minus 300. Both of these guys combined for 18 knockouts. Hassan has 10 wins all by knockout. I'm not overthinking this. I'm not laying 3-1 odds on a guy that can easily get his lights put out just as easily as the other guy. I'm going to do the under. But that being said, the other guy's nickname is Sniper. Like he that's what he does. He hits people really fucking hard in the face, and that's what Hassan does. They both crack. Just bet the under. If I'm making a pick, I guess I'm gonna go Hassan. But again, I don't know how the odds are what they are. I guess I I don't know. It's crazy. Like, Hassan is 10-0, but he hasn't really fought anybody. What's his best win? Nico Price? Yeah. So I don't know if that dictates 3-1 odds, but I guess so. I'm going to go Hassan. Not confident. I'm more confident in the under. But, Chris, were you serious when you said the under was 4-1?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'll find a prop somewhere. Chris.
So yeah, my take on this, basically, you guys, I'm just gonna reiterate everything you guys just said. I mean, I don't even need to. Aside from that, Alsan missed weight again by 3 pounds for his championship fight. That's really big into play. If that didn't happen, I think that I would go Lazez on this one. One of the main reasons being he's from Dubai, so he doesn't have to fucking. He's used to being there. You know, the heat, everything, no travel. That could, play big into his game. So. I mean, they're both finishers. This is a tough one for me. Like Matt said, the under just seems so easy. So bet the fucking over, baby. No, I'm kidding. I think I'm going to go Lazez on this one just because I'm not a fan of Al Hassan and because of the no travel in Abu Dhabi. That's no fucking joke. You know what I mean? Going over there is not easy. So I'm going to go against him on this one. And, yeah, that being said, maybe he looked kind of rough. Like, he looked like the weight cut of, like, Fishgold stepped on the scale first, I think. So, like, that was almost like he just didn't try to cut weight. Al Hassan, I think, had a rough cut, crossed on the other side of the world, not looking too good. 2 years away from the octagon. I'll bet against that.
Yeah, my big thing is that, Razak has like a total of 5 minutes of fight time in the past 3 years, 3+ years, so that's going to do him no good. He's 34 years old. He's coming back from all this legal trouble. Who knows if he was even training during all that time? Like, there's so many unanswered questions about him, and for him to be that massive of a favorite based off of his I'm not questioning his power. He probably has like as much power as any fighter in the roster, but if we're not going by puncher's chance, but like everyone's relying on that finish from him, and I don't think that's a reasonable reason to have the line what it is. It's gonna be a stand-up affair. Someone's going down. I just think Lazez is a little bit, coming in here. I was listening to half the battle today. They were hyping him up too, so it wasn't just what I saw on tape. It's what other handicappers have seen as well. So I'm going to go with Lazez. I'm not going to say he's going to be my underdog pick of the week, but he is what I'm going to be putting my money on. So next fight, Meatball Molly McCann going up against Tyler Santos in a 125-pound weight class. Matt.
Finally a female fight I can actually speak to. Molly McCann, yeah, and this actually is a female fight for our listeners. But I'm actually going Santos here. Molly McCann is as meat and potatoes as they come. She's just going to stand in the pocket and trade. Santos, I think she has like 10 knockouts out of 15 wins. Granted, they're against literally people that didn't have a win at the time they fought. But Molly doesn't seem to dictate where the fight goes. She lets her opponent dictate where the fight goes. And Santos having a 6-inch reach and having some legit knockout power. I'm going to ride the underdog here. I mean, they both are kind of fucking Molly McCann's fought literally nobody. She beat Cachoeira, who's horrible. Lipsky, who's like 1-2 in the UFC, and the other girls fighting on this card too. And then she lost to Jillian Robertson. So it's not the greatest competition. But if this fight is going to stay on the feet for all 3 rounds, which I think it's going to, I definitely favor the girl with the 6-inch reach. In that bout, Chris.
Yeah, Santos won on I almost said tough on the Contender Series.
Mm-hmm.
So how I usually always favor them. She lost to, I don't know if Matt just said this, I'm fucking having trouble with these fucking beats. I'm sure Matt just said it, but she lost to Borella, who fucking is dog shit. That's her only loss on her record. I know that they were really trying to promote her because they were going to give her to Jillian Robertson, sorry, and that fight fell through. So they're trying to kind of push Santos a little bit. So I think I'm with Matt on this one. I might ride the underdog wave here as well and pick against Molly McCann. She's kind of there to be hit, and with the reach advantage, I just see it going that way.
I'm actually going to pick Meatball Molly here. I was reading her record Tyler's record, and she's like 0-1. Like you said, Matt, 0-1, 1-0, 2-1, 0-3. Like she's just beating nobody. She comes in she won the Contender Series against an okay prospect, but she comes in and loses to Barella Romero, and I'm just like, I can't put my stock into that. Whereas at least McCann, she's winning the fights that she's supposed to be winning, and she's landing like over 100 significant strikes in each of these fights. So yeah, she's definitely going to be smaller, but like she puts the pressure on, and wherever the fight goes, she's pretty game on the ground, on the feet. I'm not sold on a person who's 15-0, comes to the UFC and loses her first fight to Mero. Like she lost to Mero. Like it was like pretty clear. I'm not going to put any stock into that. Again, I'm probably not going to bet on this one because I don't know. I could see Meatball just like having a poor showing. So like it's pretty much a stay away from me for this one entirely.
Sorry, Mike. Just one thing to go back on that. What you just said is 100% accurate. The only reason I'm going against Molly is because her, like you said, her win, she is coming in and she's just fucking winning. They're all decisions. So I think if she goes 3 rounds with Santos, just using that reach to her advantage could be a detriment to Meatball if it's going 3 rounds.
Absolutely. And that can totally happen. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. So good luck to you guys on the plus money. I'm just going to steer clear of this one. Up next, great fight. Great fight. Got a lot to say about this one. Jimmy Rivera going up against Cody Stamann. Cody is a small favorite, plus 115 to Jimmy Rivera's, I think, plus 130. Minus 130, something like that.
Oh, I was like,
Rivera. Matt.
Question. Is Tim Elliott off the card?
No.
He's the co-main?
Yeah. It's brutal.
What the fuck? Okay, I guess I don't know how Jimmy Rivera is not the co-main, but okay.
Oh my Fight Island, let's go.
What the fuck?
I'm gonna go Rivera with this one. Being that he's a Jersey boy, goes to a deli in my town, see him every once in a while. I do favor him in this fight. I think he's going to be the bigger guy in there. He's got a 4-inch reach. He's got some power in those hands, and I think that he's due for a win. I know he's had a tough showing against the upper echelon guys like the Moraises, the Jans, the Sterlings, but I don't know if I'm a Cody fan too. I just don't know if he's there yet. Like, biggest win, I feel like I'm rereading our text yesterday. Biggest wins against Brian Kelleher, which is very recent, and I'm not a fan of these guys that are fighting every 3 weeks right now because I would like to fact check myself. I don't think they've been faring that well. And Jimmy's good, man. Like, I know he's not championship material, but that doesn't mean he sucks. And low key, I think Stamann is a better fighter when he can work in takedowns and use his wrestling, which is very underrated. And I don't think he's able to do that against Rivera. I think that this fight is a boxing match, and in a boxing match, I really favor Rivera. Like I said, got that 4-inch reach. He's got the experience. He's been in there with the guy that's fighting next for the belt. He's been in there with the current title holder, and he's been in there with Marlon. Like, those are top 3 guys in the division right now. I really favor experience here, and I don't like it does favor Stamann, though, that he doesn't have to cut weight because, Chris, you said this is 145, right? So so is Boom Boom, no?
Yes.
I heard it was 2. Yeah, so I don't know, man. I just haven't liked these fighters that are being overly active, but I'm definitely going to go Jimmy here. You know, hometown guy. I really hope he gets his career back on track in this. Chris, what do you think?
I agree with you. You know, Jersey boys stand proud, the 3 of us, plus Jimmy Rivera. So I don't want to let my fan of Jimmy get in the way here. But this is number 8 versus number 9, by the way. So how, like Matt said, how the fuck this isn't co-main event? Don't understand it. Granted, that's at bantamweight. Like we said, this fight's at 145, but it's just basically bantamweights fighting without cutting weight. So anyway, with that being said, I do favor Jimmy in this fight. His striking is better. I don't think there's a question about that. Cody Stamann's wrestling is better. I don't think there's a question about that. But I think Jimmy Rivera's wrestling and takedown defense in general is good enough to keep the fight on the feet where it plays in his favor. Like Matt said, I do think he's due for a win. I think Jimmy Rivera so his career was weird. He was like 21-1. Again, fighting fucking no ones, kind of the Tiger Showmans. Fought Uriah Faber, trying to promote him. He looked really good. Then he fought the upper echelon of the upper echelon of the fucking division. and got beat soundly, but he's still been in there with those guys. He went 3 rounds with Jan. The first round, he looked way better than Jan, gets dropped. Second round, pretty even. I would almost even favor Jimmy, gets dropped. So it's like, fuck, dude. He kind of, not that he threw that fight away by no means, Jan's fucking a savage, but he's been in there with real good guys, whereas Cody Stamann, I think, is just, like, this fight's fucking 50-50. I just have to make a pick. I'm going with Jimmy Rivera here, guys. Help me out. But with that being said, I do think Jimmy's I think he's going to keep it standing, and we'll win the fight there. And that's it.
He beat Dodson, too. I actually, because I bet Jan in that fight, obviously. And I thought he was down. Take away the takedown. You obviously can't take away the knockdowns, but he was losing 1 and 2 before each knockdown. I
thought he was winning the first round.
I thought he was convincingly losing both, because I remember a huge sigh of relief after the late knockdowns in both rounds. It's like, all right, thank God he got the round back, because I bet him heavily. I had him in parlays and shit. So
wait.
My memory could be fucking me up, but regardless,
you guys are confusing each other.
Yeah, exactly, Matt. You're saying what I'm saying.
Yeah, you guys.
I was agreeing with you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's okay.
Yeah, no, I was agreeing. Yeah, I was agreeing.
This is where I'm coming the other way. Like I've said it for a while now. I think Jimmy Rivera is so one-dimensional. He's not going to go for takedowns. He's not going to make it a kickboxing match. He's going to he's going to make it a boxing match, try to hit you in the pocket and, get out and escape before you hit him, and he's very good at that. His head movement is awesome. Footwork is awesome. Everything about his boxing game is awesome. His takedown defense is awesome. Obviously, he's 5'4". His level of his center of gravity is lower than anybody. His hips are automatically below everyone else's. So I don't really see Cody taking him down. But if Cody's a smart guy, all right, he's a smart fighter. He always finds a way to stay in every fight, even if he loses. Except Aljo, that's a different level. But my point being is didn't he tie Song Yadong?
I thought he won that fight, but yes.
Right. Okay. So regardless, super close. He's always manages to stay in the fight. And if he's smart, and if I was his coaches, I'd be like, listen, throw a lot of leg kicks, keep it on the outside. You're 2 inches taller than him. I know his reach is the opposite way, but if you're 2 inches taller, your reach is better. I don't care about the whole, your arms are longer, but I'm shorter than you bullshit. I don't believe in that shit. My point being is, if you keep it on the outside, use your leg kicks, use your reach, and push him up against the cage, he can win this fight, a 3-round decision. I really do think that Stamann is going to win this fight. I was on Rivera for a while, then Stamann, back to Rivera, and I'm settling on Stamann. I think that Jimmy's figured out at this point, and I know everyone talks about how Stamann has no power, but I don't know. He was hitting Kelleher with some hard shots, and his stand-up never looked better prior to that fight. So I agree with Chris. It is a 50-50 match, and I'm just going to go with Stamann. I'm just going to go the other way, and we'll see what happens. If Rivera wins, I'll be yeah, well, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Also, 2 things, Mike. The one, going back to Yadong, it was a draw, but I think I'm 99% sure it was Song Yadong lost a point with an illegal knee. But regardless, doesn't matter. The other thing is, I've been seeing a lot of people online saying that Jimmy Rivera and Cody Stamann are young guns in the division. They're 30 and 31. They're not young. It seems like it, but they're not, So, and the other thing I wanted to say with Jimmy that I just wanted to touch on, it seemed like he was super underrated. He was 21 and 2, whatever the fuck he was, like I said. And people were oh my God. And there was just that idea of Jimmy Rivera's underrated. Then he fought, he started fighting, he beat John Dodson. Everyone's oh, he's next for the title. Overrated. And now I feel like he's right on par with where he needs to be, where this is number 8, number 9 division. Awesome fight. I mean, aside from the main event, I'm obviously most hyped for this fucking fight. We've been spending the most time on it, you can kind of tell. But yeah, like I said, 50-50 toss-up. Best of luck to both of them. Let's fucking get it. On to the poopy co-main event.
The poopy co-main event. Tim Elliott, slight favorite, -125 over Ryan Benoit. I'm America. So I'm going to say Benoit because I'm in America and I'm American. So Benoit plus
Great,
100.
we got kicked off fucking iTunes, Mike. Thanks.
No, iTunes ain't that soft. Let's go. They got some sweatshops over there in Middle Asia making iPhones.
Good.
Dude, if you hate America, I literally hope you never download our podcast.
Yeah. Just
You're one of those people stomping out the American flag on the 4th of July. You could go fuck yourself and leave someone else.
Yeah. So, with that being said, just at the lines, Matt, what do you think about this scrap? Because I don't have much to say about it.
Dude. Imagine losing 3 in a row and being favored. But anyway, Benoit's, I mean, he's a win one, lose one fighter. So by that metric, he should win this fight. I think he definitely has better stand-up. I think it's more technical and he hits harder. His gas tank is suspect as hell. He does have a win over Sergio Pettis, granted no longer in the UFC, but I think he chased the money. But regardless, I don't know, man. Like, Elliott sucks. He sucks. He's not getting any younger. But his last 3 fights, it's not like he's fighting tomato cans. Like, he fought who the fuck did he fight? He fought Askarov.
Figueiredo.
Yeah, Figueiredo. And then Rovell. Yeah. So, I mean, he's not fighting tomato cans, but still, he's like, what, 15-10, 15-11. He's definitely a better scrambler, probably has the advantage on the ground. I don't know, man. I just can't get myself to bet on him. I'll probably go Benoit to crack him early. Chris?
Yeah, they both fucking suck. This fight's horrible. I'm so mad this is the co-main event. Tim Elliott is there to be hit. I think Benoit hits a little harder. I think Matt just literally said that. Both these guys are win one, lose one. Like, if you look at their records, like, dude, they're both horrible. Yeah, Tim Elliott's kind of old and over the hill. Benoit, like, when he knocked out Sergio Pettis, I think it was the end of the second round, I wanted to shoot myself because it was like, Pettis clearly fucking winning that fight. That's a fight Benoit holds over his head so proud that he should have never won. If he loses that fight, I think he has like a fucking 500 record. So, man, this is hard to pick. This is one I'm staying away from. I'm obviously not betting on, but I think I'll take the plus money here and take Benoit.
We're all on Benoit.
Dude, because I hate Tim Elliott. He's terrible. He fought Mighty Mouse and went to decision. Everyone's like, oh, dude, he's good. It's like, no, he's fucking horrible.
No.
Not good. He's old.
Okay. The thing is, he's got good chain wrestling, but he gasses himself out. So, like, this is how I see the fight going down. The first round, Benoit's going to be throwing heat like he always does. I do think he hits maybe harder than anybody else at 125. I'll give him that. Maybe Figueiredo. But he hits hard as hell. Might catch Elliott, but if he doesn't, Elliott's going to take him down and then get gassed out, and Benoit's going to get gassed out trying to get up, and it's going to be his second round. They're both going to be gassed. It's going to be horrible. So, again, I'm with you, Chris. I'm not touching this one, but I'll pick Benoit too.
I feel like we've said that about like every fight. We're not touching this one. We're not touching this one.
It's Wednesday night.
It's volatility at its finest, man. You got all these low-level guys. Like, the line essentially means nothing when they're just UFC newcomers. You know what I'm saying? Like, the line is like sometimes outrageous. But I'll pick Benoit. Let's just get to this main event, guys. Dan Ige plus 265 going against Calvin Kattar. Main event, 5 rounds. Finally, Kattar's in a 5-round fight. Matt.
I think I might be the biggest Kattar fan on this podcast, man. I'm ready to give this guy a title shot if he wins this fight, dude. I really think he's got the best boxing in this division, like just pure boxing. And I don't know, man. There's just something about the way he's been fighting lately. I do think the line's a little crazy. I don't think he loses his fight though, like at all. Like, he's really fucking good, and I think that he's really, really slept on. Like, nobody was really talking about him yet. And he's pretty big for this division, dude. He's almost 6 foot. I think he's like 5'11". Like, I didn't realize how tall he was until I saw him standing across from Ige, because, like, Ige is not the smallest guy, and he was visibly taller, definitely has a reach advantage. That being said, Ige cracks. I mean, they both crack, but it's going to be a boxing match. If it goes to the ground, I definitely favor Ige, but I don't think it goes there. I don't know, man. I'm definitely going Kattar. But again, this line is just a little too big for the bet. Oh, who am I kidding? Realistically, it's not. I'm going to go Kattar. Chris, what do you think? I need to ponder this a little more.
Get fucking Calvin Kattar in the UFC 4 video game, please. Like, he's the number 5, 6.
He's not in it.
No, he's not in the fucking game, dude. Get that man in the fucking video game. Again, Kattar, everyone says he's the young dark horse of the division. He's not young. I think he's 32. 31, 32, and that's not fucking young.
32.
32. There you go. I love his boxing, like you said. He just fucking little heathen. So that was fucking. What's up?
Nobody's more underrated than. Like, I was looking at his record. He's beat Feely. He's beat Burgos. He's beat Fishgold. He's beat Lamas. He's beat Jeremy Stevens. He's only lost to Moicano and Zabit. Like, that's crazy. That's a pretty impressive resume for a guy that is where he is in his career.
he lost the Moicano fight. We were there. It almost looked like he wasn't there, if that makes sense. Like, I think if they ran that back today, Cater wins. And I think if him and Zavit ran it back, he wins. So that says a lot. I'm super high on Cater. I think that he's this fight and then one more away from a title shot. It's to the point where, like, if he wins this fight, maybe him versus fucking Max.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? See if that puts him over the edge, you know? But, yeah, I'm going Cater in this one. I do think the line's a little steep. I know, Mike, you're fucking picking Danny Ige. We all fucking know. but I'm going Cater in this one for sure.
You also have to remember, too, like, Ige's kind of just been skating by. Like, he's not coming into this main event on, like, he split to Beck. I did think he won that. Nobody really thought he beat Barboza. I didn't. And I tailed him there. I listened to Mike for once, and I tailed him there. Granted, I was obviously happy with the decision, but I didn't think he won that fight at all. But
I was gonna say that. I meant to say that I think that his like eke by streak comes to an end in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about it before. Like I've been on the Ige train since he beat Kevin Aguilar way back in the day. So I do think it finally comes to an end. But the fan in me has already put money on him to win, and also for him to win by decision and for him to win by submission, because the odds are outrageous, man. So, like, the one thing I will say, unbiased, 265 is a little bit steep.
It is.
A little bit. Plus 200 seems a little bit more fair. But the one thing that I have to say about Ige is he's got heart. He's a hard worker. He's not particularly skilled or, blessed with talent in any particular area. He really is just a hardworking guy that got to where he is. He's got Ali behind him, which I really don't like. But I don't know. Ali's guys always seem to do well for whatever reason. Calvin Kattar is just going to box his ass up the whole time, maybe even finish him in the fourth round. I don't know, man. I'm just a big Ige fan. I when I saw him get dropped by Edson in the last fight, my heart just stopped, So I don't want to see that happen again. But Kattar is the real deal. Speaking of which, this just came to my mind. Have we seen Kattar on the ground in any fight?
Let me look at his record and I'll let you know. Let me see. I'm trying to think back.
Because, I'm not saying Ige's got great takedowns, but Ige, if he's smart, he's going to want to at least push him up against the cage, maybe go for the
he defended himself well against Moicano.
Yeah, Ige's not that this matters at all, because, like, you got a guy like somebody on this card, Jack Shore is a purple belt. He's not a fucking purple belt. But Ige's a brown belt and Kattar's a blue belt. So like I said, I do think, like, you do have a point. If it goes to the ground, it definitely favors Ige. I just don't think that it gets there, Mike. Also, I need you to be honest. Do you have a Dan Ige fight kit?
No, but no, it would be interesting if it got to the ground. I don't think it will. Ige's he's not talented enough with his takedowns to do that. But
he's a Division II wrestler. Just found that.
Yeah.
Division III, sorry.
So it was Usman.
Yeah. True. One thing I don't put too much stock into, Matt, just to play devil's advocate, is the belt, like their jiu-jitsu belt. Like, I don't think that comes too much into play here. Like, dude, I think I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Michael Chiesa just got his purple belt. Like, Michael Chiesa and any fucking, 90% of the gyms across America is a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I mean, it's just because these guys don't train with a gi that much.
Right. No, and I hear that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. So, like, I don't put too much stock in that. I think Kattar's well-versed there. He owns his own fucking MMA promotion, for God's sake, so he's been in the game for a minute. He's been fighting professionally since 2007. So, that's 13 years of pro fighting. Yeah, I got Kattar in this one, more of the story, but what else, boys? Final thoughts?
That's it, man. I mean, we'll put our picks out tomorrow, probably around noon, and enjoy the fights.
I love a Wednesday card.
It breaks up my week so much.
Yeah.
Yo, look at this picture Anik just posted. It goes, "What does retirement look like to you?"
I saw that on Twitter, yeah.
He's the man.
Because he's always making those fucking tattoo bets.
Yeah. But
do you guys want to come over for the fight Saturday? I'm going to be here if you guys want to come through. Just throwing that out there now.
I'm going back down the shore tomorrow, I think.
I'm going to go back soon. Not yet.
I might have to do something with my girlfriend. I might not even be able to watch him Saturday. I'm so upset about it. So.
Goddamn. Happens to the best of us, dude.
So. Oh yeah, guys. By the way, we didn't review Saturday because we're pumping out double the content this week. We got another podcast coming out Thursday. You guys want to do it?
Yeah, Thursday.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, episode 16 in the books. Good lucks. Look out for our picks tomorrow on social media. Follow us at MMA Gossip, all platforms across the board, on YouTube especially. Give us that like, subscribe, comment, share. Anything you do helps the algorithm. So please get our names out there. We're having a blast doing this.
Later, boys.
Later.
Later, guys.